Greetings, everyone. I thought I'd do a little bit of an update. The heads got all ported. I showed you that. You can see I removed the swirl ramp and almost completely got rid of the rocker boss. I forgot to mention that in the last video. I was debating on whether or not I should carve it all the way through so there's threads poking out. I know a lot of guys do that, but I just didn't think it was necessary, especially when I'm going to be using forced induction on this thing to push through. But I was in there, so I removed it anyway. As you can see, the motor is now a lovely Pontiac blue because it's going into a Pontiac Bonneville. And yes, I know I painted the heads and I painted all the other aluminum stuff, and naked aluminum sheds heat better than painted aluminum does, but I don't care. That's the way I wanted it to look, so that's the way she's going to be. But to touch on people checking their lash. See, I have LS7 lifters, and I got aftermarket push rods that are 7400, which by all accounts, and I actually measured them, they're 20 to 25 thou taller than the stock ones. So the cam that I'm running is 560 lift. Exhaust 580 lift intake. Yes, I'm using reverse split cam, and I know there's a lot of debate about that, but I wanted certain things to be the way they were going to be on a 4.8 twin turbo setup. So I also wanted it to idle silky smooth so that nobody would suspect anything was going on under the hood. That's why I chose reverse split. But the recommendations are you can go 80 to 100 thou preload on the lifters, but you don't need to. Hydraulic lifters haven't changed in 40 years. I took a couple of them, the old ones, apart, and the insides of them are quite the same as any high performance standard flat tap hydraulic lifter. I didn't see any difference whatsoever. So running them at 30 thou preload, which is what I have done for years and years, should work just fine. I don't even know what my preload is right now, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and it's dead simple. So right now I'm at top dead center on cylinder 1 compression, so I know both rollers are on the base circle, and as it's been said in a bunch of previous posts on LS1 Tech, and I found it a bunch of different places. And if you actually measure the threads on these rocker arms, you will see that one full turn is indeed 50 thou. Technically it's 49, 48 and a half, something like that, but 48.7 I think I saw somewhere. But you have to do a multiplier, because you're going to assume that this part is fixed, and then you are multiplying what's happening here to what's happening at the push rod by a factor of 1.5. Even though these are 1.7 push rods, when you do the math, and people have borne that out by putting a dial indicator on here and then tightening it down and finding out that it is indeed 1.5. So if you have one full turn here, that will give you 75 thou preload. Now I haven't touched this yet. My lifters are fully pumped up. I soaked them for about a week in oil, so they will not compress at all. So when you tighten up the bolt, you'll find that it'll stop dead, and you can just you can't really grab the push rods anymore like you could on the small block Chevys. It's just too hard to get in there. So you just basically snug it up until they get snug. Like it's rattling, so you tighten it up until it gets snug. Right there. So I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to see how much till it's seated. So I'm at right there, 3/4 of a turn. Oh, see, my lifter's bleeding down a little bit. I can feel it. So there we are. I'm at a turn and a bit seated. Now you don't torque it to 22 foot-pounds like some guys do. I don't know why they do that, because all you're doing is taking up the slack in the threads and stretching the bolt a little bit, and so that doesn't factor in at all. It's when the fulcrum gets seated on the head. That's where you take it to. Anything beyond that is you're just fooling yourself. So there I am at a turn and a bit